Alrighty, so let's see if I did it right this time. Be interesting. Let me know in chat if I did. Hopefully you folks can hear me now. Hey, there we go. Alright, I did it right this time. So that's a step in the right direction. Let me turn down my own headset because it's a little loud right now. Yeah, hey, Merry Christmas lyrics. Yeah, I am indeed working today. Knew I was going to be coming in at some point, so it only looks like now is some point. Gotta go change the name. Let's see. All right, let's change the name and not screw this up. How about Tuesday? Tuesday after Christmas. All right, updating the title. Before that gets done. Merry Christmas as well, Drooged. All right, so this is working. Yay. And streaming seems to be working just fine. So, hey, this is the first. Certainly a lot less problems than I had before. So I hope everyone had a good Christmas, had some fun, got prezzies, ate some good food, or just do whatever you guys and gals wanted to do on Christmas. I kind of chilled, hung out with the family for a bit. Ended up going to see Shape of Water last night, um, and now in to get some things done, before the new year. And since I just took care of a lot of the things that I needed total concentration on, I figured I'd stream. Hey, morning, Paladin. How you doing? Sorry you're at work too. Probably tell the folks on Discord. Somebody, I don't know what it is with my machine, but Discord half the time does not want to start. So if you guys could, pop over to Discord and tell the folks there that we're live, and they can come over and chat. Paladin, yeah, I don't know if nuts is the word. You know, I prefer dedicated. Uh, so I don't mind. Um, Yeah, I'm not going to be here all day. I mean, I just got here. What time did I get here? 11ish, late 11. So, I'll end up leaving here probably by 2, maybe by 3. I'm just waiting for certain documents to, cross my desk. And when that happens, I'll get them done, send them off, and then head home for dinner with the Lady J and my son Michael, which would be great. Going to one of our favorite restaurants tonight. It's an Afghan restaurant that is amazing, amazing food. One of our favorites. And we've been eating that type of food forever. But no, this one is really good. And because it's a holiday, or a holiday, end of year, a lot of people are gone. So I was able to get, reservations there tonight. Hey, Pachamos, how are you doing today? Hey, the man. How's it going, man? Pachamos, I've been doing this for the last couple weeks when I come in and just do things, that need to be done and there's no one else here. I actually don't mind turning on the cameras. One, because I'm not disturbing anyone when I'm talking. And second, you know, being in the office by yourself can get kind of lonely. So turning this on while I'm working on things, helps out both of us. You folks get some questions answered, and I get to have a little bit of company. So that's cool. Hey, Force Chaos. Hey, Valdy. And I think I had said in my last stream that I was going to be here this week to try to get some things done. The man. Yeah, it can be at times. But this is nothing new for me. I mean, I did the same thing at Mythic. Um, I went at Christmas, I went at New Year's, to check on things, to do things. If nothing else, I'm consistent as hell. Oh, really consistent. Anyone playing anything really fun over break or over the holidays? What about beta? End of January. So many questions will be answered. I promise. Whole bunch of news. As I am want to quote movies or TV shows, heaping helping of information. Like No, we're going to make an announcement about when betas start. Certainly, if you the ITs and alphas have been in more recent patches of the game, and we're not. I don't want to tell people that yes, hey, we are going to be in beta by the end of January. We will have a lot to say. It will. I cannot imagine that the vast majority of you will not find the stuff that we are talking about at the end of January to be good and true news. I've always said, and this also goes, actually, this goes back to AUSI, my first company. I know certainly the studio can never make everyone happy. You just can't. Um, uh, but I think what we're going to be talking about is going to make absolutely the vast majority of you happy, thrill you all the way down to your toes. Sid, want to bet on that? Happy to. Happy to bet on that. I need some BSC days with a 2 weekish run up to Beta 1. Hadn't actually thought about that, but that's not a bad idea. Remind me of it, uh, sometime in January. But what I can say is that the last couple weeks, I got to be careful, but the last couple weeks have been very good overall for the studio. And I'll leave it at that. And by the way, I expect more good things. That wasn't it. If everything that I've been working on was done already, I would tell you folks at the beginning. Pack numbers haven't changed yet. Yet. How's that? Paladin, how's the guild UI coming along? Um, Honestly, I don't know. I haven't spoken to JB about it in the last couple of weeks. I have been kind of busy. Pack, yep. Smile. How long did it take me to grow this beard? I don't actually know. I started taking it a little more seriously in November, so certainly less than 2 months. How's that? Um, what was the size of Mythic during Dayak? Oh, anywhere between 20 and 25. I think we launched with, but it might have been 24. But that's all we had. We also had a small team, and we actually started with I think we had 13 when we signed the deal, maybe 12. But we were small for most of it. The big advantage, of course, that we had that we didn't have this time was we had a graphic engine we had licensed from the Netimers folks, and we already had some back end code, especially networking code from all the games we had done. So that gave us a bit of an edge. Oh, glad you like the beard. Smile. Yeah, actually, it's coming rather well. I was up in New York earlier this month, and I hung out with my sister, and then one of my nieces came in, from California, and was like, "Hey, you look good with that beard." I'm like, okay, maybe I'll keep it, and not keep it as short as I had been. Who's ever asking that question is in a bright yellow, so I can't see your name. But Dayak was not really a mud first. Some of it was based on Denton's Tempest code. You know, Dragon's Gate was actually my game and had nothing to do with Mythic Entertainment at the time. That was back from the Genie days. Denton's game Tempest was the game that used, um, that we used the original code from, and of course Darkness Falls, which followed it up. But Tempest, I believe, was the original name of Denton's Mud. Did the Dayak Battleground success surprise me? No, not really. Don't forget, Mythic had been making games, multiplayer arena-based games for a while, and so having people get together in smaller spaces and battle it out, and people actually liking that, not a big deal. No surprise. Hey, you picked my brain. Merry Christmas to you as well. So during the stream, one of two things could happen. One, I may kill it if I really need to focus, but I may go all silent and stuff and skip, messages, for a bit as I need to work on some other stuff. I'm just waiting for some other docs to come in that I need to work on today while I'm here. If I could go back in time, would you sell to EA again? Um, Well, I didn't have a choice. I've told this story a number of times, but I'll happily tell it again. By the time we sold to EA, I was a minority investor. The majority of the shareholders wanted a sale, and the guys at TA Associates, who also held some sub debt, subordinated debt, on our company, said I had no choice. Had to sell the company, or they were going to do some things. And so, I did what I needed to do. I, pushed EA certainly further than anyone else had pushed them at that time, and got the best deal I could for the investors. I got the best deal I could for my team. We got to protect the team. That was something I believed in hugely, and that was actually part of the agreement with EA. Um, so there was really that wasn't there was no really other option other than to sell or to quit. And I'd already played the quit card once to buy myself some more time to make the deal. I couldn't play it again. Plus, I didn't have again the support I needed. And it's a shame. But it is what it is. We needed the money to make Dark Age, so we took some investment then. Then down the road, we had the chance to get a big sum of money as well for the investors, and then included myself and other folks from Mythic, including the founders. And so everyone was happy with the deal, and you can't look back in that way. I'm happy to look back at mistakes that I made, just as I think we all should be able to do that. But when it came to the EA deal, considering I got them up from well, what I can say, because I can't quote the number, not publicly, is that I got them from an initial offer back in 2002, and I got 4x over that. So the investors were really happy. Yeah, smile. That's part of the problem. We've shifted We've shifted so much in terms of the kind of games we're making, in terms of an industry and the monetization, and frankly, I think we're all missing the way to do things, the right way to do things. Some companies are better at it, some are worse, like a lot worse. But look, I said this in our last stream as well, that we as gamers also have to take some of the blame by buying the hated microtrans, and also for complaining about prices. Look, the price of video games is a bargain. I mean, by any basic standard of fairness, for the amount of work that goes into a game, and for the amount of time most people can get playing it, it's a hell of a price. It really is. If went to the movies yesterday, and each ticket was $14, and it's uh, and that's in Virginia. If you go into San Francisco at any of the first runs, New York City, it's over $20, I assume. I haven't bought a ticket there for a while, so when you look at paying $20 or more for a ticket, and if you have a soda and you have a popcorn or some candy, you're $30 for anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours generally of entertainment. And yet we as gamers complain about games at $60, where you can, depending on the game, have unlimited hours of entertainment, and we complain about that. And so, that sends a scary signal to a bunch of the folks at EA and other companies. And so, I think, as always, that the solution is not simple, and that we all have to take responsibility. If EA ever sold off Mythic, is there anything salvageable left at this point of time? At this point of time, oh yeah. I mean, I think there are things that I would certainly love to have back, but that's just not happening. Well, Aksu, that's exactly what I was talking about. Um, it really is. The price point for games hasn't shifted much in 20 years. Go check it out. That's the thing. We need, as an industry, to come up with a better way of pricing our games. And I'm not saying, oh my God, they should be $200 or any nonsense like that. No, but when you have a lot of people, screaming for free games, hey Penguin, and saying that they don't want to pay for anything, and then you have to find a way of monetizing, that makes it hard for people. I mean, that's really it. Uh, I don't know why you think sorry, Zwande, it's a bad comparison. I wasn't actually talking about devs getting underpaid. Um, and I think that devs right now are not underpaid when you look at what's been going on in places like Seattle and California. So it wasn't about that. It was, what should we as gamers be willing to pay for a game without microtrans, without day one DLC? That's what we have to decide. And, we have to be willing to support those developers and publishers who come in with the right market and saying, this is what we want to do. We want to give you tons of time. And look, I'm one of those guys who argued at EA against the whole, hey, we got to cut back on single player. We want, just multiplayer. We want, somebody there, a name I won't mention because I respect the guy, but he was like, hey, if we could get our games down to 15 hours of gameplay, we'd be happy, because that was his opinion about how long a game should, entertain you. And I'm from the exact opposite. I mean, I can't even tell you how many hours I've played in my favorite games. So I think we as an industry, and then we as also gamers, have to sit back and look at this whole thing and go, wow, okay, what do we need to do? How can we make things that are fair, in terms of pricing, gives the customer a lot of entertainment, huge amount of entertainment, and everyone leaves happy. So that's the thing. We need to figure that out. And yeah, Valdi, there's probably very few people who hate the idea of paid loot boxes or lock boxes. Hey, House, more than I do. It's just, that's just terrible. I don't like them. I never will. Uh, Swande, it's not that simple. I wish it was. Um, you know, in some cases, you're absolutely right that shareholders, a lot of the companies, and by shareholders, I'm not talking about people who buy stock, because people who buy stock in EA and don't have to be billionaires, and if the stock goes up, they do fine. Um, the guys who really make it big, uh, off the sale of the games, it's the company usually. It's not just the shareholders if it's a publicly traded company. It's the company, which can be used to pay salaries. It can be used to pay, for the development costs, which is really the prices, the cost of a developer has gone up so much in the last 10 years. And look, this I've been doing this forever, guys. And the last 10 years with California, especially, Northern California and Seattle, prices for, what you are spending for everything, from, finding a space, from paying all the salaries. The prices have gone up so much. The cost of developing a game have gone up so much in the last 10 years. You know, it, you don't want to blame it on that, because it's not just that. But the costs have really risen, and they've risen not at an inflationary rate, in the sense of they haven't matched inflation. They've gone up a lot higher. They really have. It is just tremendous. The change from when we started the studio, or even when we started the Kickstarter, what I have to pay for programmers, for producers, for artists out in Seattle or Northern California, have really changed. Okay, not a little bit, but an awful lot. And for those who don't believe me, it's really simple. Go to Seattle. Go and look at any of the home apps, Zillow, Realtor, and look at the appreciation of homes all over that area, and not just in Seattle proper. I'm talking Kirkland, where we're located, or Redmond, or Bellevue, or Woodinville, all those places. So if the prices there have gone up, so the people who are living in that area, you know, can't afford to buy a house, or can't rent a house, or can't, have to spend a lot more for the apartment, then salaries have to go up more. So it isn't as simple as you might think. I wish it was. It just isn't. It's a really complicated issue, and I'm not defending, the publishers, but the prices have gone up an awful lot. The cost of making these games. So, you know, that's a real question, that we all should look at. And Valdi, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You also look at the number of units that have been sold. And I had the same discussion with you folks, one of the other streams, that one of the big advantages of today that we didn't have 10 years ago was Steam. With the death in the PC space, at least, of the brick and mortar stores. I mean, almost nobody, carries PC games. That means more money has flowed to the bottom line of developers. There is no question about it, just none. Anyone who argues that doesn't know what they're talking about. Because back in the day, when you were doing, any kind of deal, whether we were working with EA or we were working with the really great folks from Vivendi Universal Games, we were still getting a fraction of what the box cost was. And Vivendi was fantastic. Loved working with the guys at Vogue. I mean, they were guys and gals, really great. But we were still getting a fraction. So Steam and all the other sites that are out there have really helped. Absolutely have helped. So again, not a simple question, far less simple answer. I'm not in any way defending DLC. I never will. um, or loot boxes or any of that. But we need a pricing model that works for everyone. It needs to work for gamers, has to work for developers as well. And yes, a lot of times developers waste money or publishers waste money, but it isn't that simple. Not all the time, certainly. Uh, yeah, Steam takes 30%. Yeah, that was my point. But 30% is a lot less than the retailers used to take. When you look at what we were getting per copy for a game when we had to go through the retailers and you had to go through a distributor, and that distributor could have been EA. I was never keeping 70% with Dark Age or even with Warhammer before EA came in. We were not going to be able to keep that much. So, like I said, it's a complicated issue. It's not as simple as bad publishers or cheap gamers, because that's not the case. It's just not simple. Sorry if you hear the Velcro. My wrist has been acting up, and got to put it back on. I was hoping I could actually do things with it off today, but um, that's just not happening. See. Anywho, so yeah, say Save, yeah, absolutely right. 30% is a lot less than the publishers and retailers used to take. Yeah, Vivendi Universal Games was great. Hey, Merry Christmas to you, Swazi. Vivendi Universal Games was great. I mean, they and look, we thank them constantly during our time with them. Thank them at the even at the end of our lifetime when we did the deal with EA. But the VUG folks were fantastic. They were the only ones who had faith in us. We had a great meeting. Remember the meeting with Phil O'Neill, and Phil was heading up the folks that we had to deal with back then. And so I'm sitting in a meeting and, explaining what we want. And, for Dark Age, which was very little, a tiny guarantee, very, very tiny number of units. I think it was like 40,000 units. Half of the money up front, half only on delivery. And he's like, okay, so let me get this straight. You don't want anything else. You only want this minimum guarantee, and you'll give us Dark Age of Camelot, and we'll distribute it for you. And I said, yeah, that's pretty much it, Phil. He says, what do I got to lose? I said, exactly. And we did the deal, and they were great. Everyone that we worked with there, everybody was just, tremendous. If it hadn't been for them, I think Dark Age, would have come out, because the money that we got didn't help us do that. We would have eventually found a distributor, but everyone else had rejected us, including EA, twice. Irony, right? But Phil and Vivendi, were just awesome, and I'm still in touch with a few of the people there, but they were just great, absolutely great, and again, they really believed in us. So, question about use online payment methods or retail cards. Online, more than retail cards. Back then and even today, retail cards were taking 30% off the top, and on a sub, that really hurts. So we were not, thrilled to use cards for subs. How fun are those in-house CU game tests? I think it's been a lot of fun. It's nice running around and seeing the game play the way it needs to. Still not where we want it to be, to get the alphas in. And so what we're going to try to do um, uh, is sometime around middle of January. I'm just thinking of the schedule in my head. We're going to go into a performance pass, and once that's done, we'll certainly open it up to more testing. In the meantime, once we get back, we'll want to get the ITs back in and maybe get the alphas, some alphas in for a not optimized test. But we have to see where the state of the build is. We had a bunch of things going at towards the end. I want to make sure that it's all cool. Travaria, no auction houses. Um, if you mean, oh, I see. Sorry. Okay, got it. I thought, when I saw the follow-up question, I thought you were asking if we were going to have an auction house versus the houses. No, Paladin Brewer is absolutely correct. Druge. So how do you figure out what a sub should be? Great question. So two things mainly. First, we see where we are in terms of subs of other games. We've said we are going to be cheaper than the average price for other games. So we said so that's our top, right? If you go, okay, what is the average sub price? Second thing is, and we actually have been doing this a little bit lately, is really looking at the per user per hour cost of cloud services versus being located in ISP. So that's the other thing we do. We're going to look at what does it cost us. Certainly, if you are going to spend say $6 a month per person on a cloud server, on cloud services, well then you can't charge less than $6 a month. So that's what we're figuring out. What will our cost be user? What will our cost per user per hour be? And once we have that, we'll set the price. Grintar, we've looked at both. Look, you can't go wrong with either one. I just ordered an 8700 for my home. My machines, you guys know who've been, listening to me either on the forums or occasionally the stream here, talk about I can't even play our game well at home because the frame rate is a little low. I mean, you can play it, it's just not a great experience. So I went out, I was waiting for the end of the year to see what deals I could get, and I ended up buying a Dell that should be in my house in 2 weeks, and I got an 8700. If you were, I don't know, Grintar, if you are going to use your PC for development or just gameplay, if you're going to use it for development, whether you're a programmer or an artist, the Ryzen has been pretty awesome. We've got some of those here. They've been really good. But if you're just going to be a gamer, for now, there's nothing wrong with an 8700. It's great. Everything I've read, it's great. Our game will take advantage of the multiple. Obviously the cores, we'll use every thread we can get. So, it won't matter a lot. Either one will work. But if you were on the development side, I've heard that the Ryzen's are pretty good. Travaria, are there any Threadrippers in our office? We have a couple Ryzen systems in Seattle, and I think we have either one or two here. Yeah, whether the thing with waiting is you have to determine what you really are going to be using your PC for. If it's development and you can wait a few months for more chips, sure, because there's always new chips coming out. On the other hand, in my case, for the system at home, I know I am going to be great, with what I bought for years and years. The worst is, worst thing I'd have to do would be to, upgrade the video card. Though I got a 1080, so that thing is going to be fabulous for quite a while, given what should be the normal progression of Nvidia's cards. Yeah, it's all about open world PvP. Fremster, no, we're not doing anything particular with Intel or AMD at the right now. Well, it's not just the number of cores; it's cores and threads. So, and frankly, with either of those, CPUs, we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine. We've said that our game has to be able to run on not the latest and greatest CPU, GPU. So if you bought anything that's considered a highish end, now you'll be fine for launch. Absolutely. Valdi, have I seen the new Star Wars? Yeah. No, didn't like it. Didn't like it. Um, Aspects of it I liked, but overall, no, I didn't. Um, so it's a shame. Big Star Wars fan, uh, but I had been telling the guys in the studio that what I expected from the movie, and it unfortunately lived down to my expectations. Oh well, Valerian, I just did not like at all. I like Star Wars more than Valerian, which is a shame. I was kind of, yeah, I didn't want to get excited about Valerian, but I didn't love it. Which is worse, the Phantom Menace or TLJ? Oh boy, neither were great. Uh, Veil gameplay info from Valdi in January? No, nothing to do with that. Druged. Yeah, Rogue One was great. Loved Rogue One. Most adult Star Wars film ever. Um, a lot of respect, for them for making the film that way. I was hoping that some of that same adulting and care about the you know older generation who loves Star Wars uh, when nobody else did would be shown in TLJ, and no, not at all. Yeah, the Darth Jar Jar theory. Yeah, we talk about that in the office. That would have been awesome. If Jar Jar Binks was Snoke, I would just, open a monument to, Disney's interpretation, because that would be the most awesome troll ever. Uh, it would have been amazing. It would have been amazing. Smile, yeah, yeah. Such a shame. Such a shame. But no spoilers for people who haven't seen it. Lord, yeah, that's not the word. That's not a bad way to look at it. Quite frankly, and it's a shame. Well, Juice, I think part of it is that, at least from my perspective, and this was, my fear going into this whole series, was that, Ray was going to be a Disney princess. That's how they saw her. And, if she is, and it's certainly, still going that way, um, then that really limits, the folks over at, whether it's Disney or Lucasfilms, or the directors, the writers, to what you can do, to the Disney princess. And that, I think that is important to Disney. And so I think that that had certainly a lot of impact on the writing. Again, you know, what can you do? Tyrix, end of January. Stay tuned for lots and lots of news. Yeah, I said that I've been saying this for the last few months, and I'm sticking to the story. Leanne, did I watch Logan, and did you enjoy the more mature version of superhero movies? Yeah, absolutely. I thought Logan, wasn't a perfect film, but I thought it was great. The Obviously the issues with superheroes and superpowers, when the person starts going, in the case of Professor X, goes through dementia, or Logan being poisoned by the adamantium. I thought that was really good, very well done overall, um, and I think it fits. I think that if you want to explore the whole superhero universe, having stories about when they're young, like a Smallville, or when they're old, like Logan, is fantastic. And it's sad. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see Professor X, um, turned into this very sad and scared old man. And nor do you want to see Logan, um, you know, being put in that same position, obviously totally out of his control, just like it was for Xavier. So I absolutely respected them for making that kind of film. It was a very brave film to make. So I thought that was awesome. Smile. When are you opting for more adverts? So, in terms of pushing it more, um, once we're in beta, I've said right from the beginning that we weren't going to get aboard the hype train, and we were certainly not going to be pushing things too soon. And beta is the time. Oh, Drooge, what did I think of Ragnarok? Oh, Ragnarok was a hoot. It was an absolute hoot. I mean, it may have been one of the best adaptations of the whole comic book style to a movie. Um, you know, it almost felt like the comics were leaping out of the pages for that movie. I enjoyed it a lot. Not a perfect film. It's not. Even though I enjoyed it a lot, I still think X Men First Class was absolutely brilliant. Um, but Thor Ragnarok, great. I've seen it a couple of times. I'll certainly be buying it, and I look forward to seeing it again. Still waiting on more docs. Uh, Tyrex, Games Workshop. I love the guys at Games Workshop, and I would happily, and the IP would happily, do something else with them. If time and money permitted, no problem at all. I love the IP. Pack would Max? Would I like Max? Let Max write a book about Camelot Unchained? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Ian, do you read books? I used to read books an awful lot. I haven't read a book um, in probably a year, unfortunately. At least not a book like for fun. Um, I used to be a voracious reader, but time is just not doesn't permit me to read as much as I'd like to, which is a shame. I was absolutely voracious. Yep, Druge, that's pretty good. I mean, we still have, to improve performance some more, not on the overall open world battle thing, but just on the progression thing. We were finding, and I've talked about this, we were finding that in some of our tests that the storing and calculations of what you earn, what you were doing, all that was taking up too much time on our, in the game. So we have to improve that. That's part of the push. Won't be a big deal. It's not something that we're worried about. Just something that has to be done to get all of you folks in there earning skill uses and keeping track of your history and doing all the things we need to do, which we didn't have to do with bots. So, Not a big deal. Just something that we're going to be doing in January. Yeah, true. That's yeah. That's obviously what we're going to be doing. Tax when we finalize the cube system, and that's something we'll also be talking about in January. Oh yeah, pimp, absolutely. Before the end of January, absolutely, absolutely. We'll get some folks in, and happy to put a link up to that. January is going to be very busy. Yes. Oh my God, yes. It's the last couple months have been more than a little hectic for me, and I expect that at least the beginning of January will be equally as hectic. Um, by the middle, it will start to settle down, I hope, and then by the end, when we make all the announcements, then I will be taking a vacation, and a real vacation. I'll actually go somewhere where I won't be looking at my phone. I have no idea where I'm going to be going, but it will be, you as close to unplugging as I could possibly get. It's one reason I used to love going on cruises because I would just take my cell phone and stick it in the safe, and I never would even look at my phone, um, while I was there. Um, Now, of course, uh, all the ships have full internet, and there's too so much temptation, to just check in. But I would definitely like to go somewhere and unplug. Oxu, oh gee, if you care to bet on it, I will be happy to take any amount you would like to put on that will put in that will not be the announcement. Happy to bet, overjoyed and raptured. Um, but yeah, so no. As you folks know, I don't lie to you guys about anything. I haven't spoken to anyone at EA for a couple years now. Not at least at EA. Well, sorry, one message to somebody there, but it had nothing to do with business. Not my business. So yeah. Sure, happily to wager that the subway token not going to happen. You might as well send it to me now. Yeah. Have we thought about patenting? Sure, of course, but that's for down the road. Can't worry about it now. It's one day selling, the engine to EA and then go to Unreal 4. Not going to happen. Um, Force Chaos. Will Beta 1 backers be able to get into tests? We certainly would like to. Mount Rainier. Yeah, I probably could unplug there, but I would prefer going somewhere warm. somewhere where I can hear the ocean, the waves lapping against the shore, which is one of my favorite things in the world to do. Um, as many of you who have listened to my streams or seen me posting privately, I kind of like the ocean. Big ocean fan. Wanna live when all was said and done by the ocean for the rest of my life. True Jews, it does depend on which beach you go to, of course. Some are less crowded than others, especially in the off season. So you know, I am sure I can find. I mean, I've been up and down the beaches from Maine down to Florida. Um, you know, bigger focus on North Carolina, of course, the Virginia beaches, Ocean City, Maryland as well, and on the West Coast, the Oregon beaches, all the way down from Florence up to ah, it's right after Gearhart. Name just went out of my head. Warrenton, and even in Seattle, did it when I was there the last time. Took a drive over to Long Beach, the longest contiguous beach in the world, and damn, it is a long beach. Um, those places aren't as busy as like the South Carolina beaches. So, you know, I'll find it. Yeah, I looked at Jekyll and St. Simons. Haven't been there yet, though. Haven't been there. Skipped it. And not for any reason other than just haven't had a chance. Done the North Carolina thing, been to South Carolina, down all the way to Florida, and just when I was at Dragon Con, I've never gone east. Maybe I'll do that after the next Dragon Con. Yeah, looked in Florida, St. Augustine looks interesting. Um, I don't want to, follow the snowbirds all the way down, to, the Palm Beach and all that kind of area. Um, and the Keys are kind of cool, but I think I'd go out of my mind living there. Tyrex, can you not have too much crowd control? Well, there has to be a certain amount of crowd control. You've got to be able to deal with Zergs. Um, and so I've said from the beginning that there will be crowd control in CU. The question is what kind of crowd control, and that's the big thing. Whether it's us or any other MMO, right? If there's no crowd control, then the Zergs or the ball of soccer kids just as can't be stopped, and so you quickly have the kind of situation you have in other games where it's just not a lot of fun. On the other hand, you also don't want crowd control to be so easily abused that it puts more power in the hands of the Zerg. So, there's a balance, and we're going to try some things. And if we're right, great, groovy, everyone's happy. If we're wrong, we'll try something else. But the one thing I can guarantee you is that we're not, we're certainly going to have crowd control. It has to be meaningful crowd control, because if not, then, our game will just not um, be a lot of fun. Will the TDD from Paladin, will TDD get more and more varied CC? Yes. Zeramus, yeah, that's the problem, right? Losing total control of your character is never fun. Now, how can you do that? How can you have crowd control without that? That's what we were talking about with the Veil, and we're going to try some different things. And again, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Uh, Lord Gamus will see you be making an appearance in game shows next year. Nothing planned, but that doesn't mean we won't be doing it. The reason for not planning is that we have to, be sure that we're spending our money wisely. Shows are expensive. There was I think I linked to it some point this year. There was a good analysis on one of the game sites about what it costs to, be at a show. And, prices have gone up since, I was doing it with both Dark Age of Camelot, and then Imperator and then War. Um, and so we just need to be smart. Going to a trade show made sense back in the day because back in the day, that's when you got to see people from the news sites, from magazines, from, gamers as well, but they were always secondary at most trade shows. You went for the press. Now, with almost all the magazines gone and with everything being online, do you really have to go to the trade shows? And yes, you do have to do it, but you don't have to do it too soon. And especially you don't want to do it if you're going to burn six figures on the trade show. And you could very easily, do that. I mean, like just from, getting the smallest booth and bringing a few people, and you're already up to six figures. So, Pack, does my son have any interest in joining the game development industry? No, none whatsoever. Zero. Um, he has no interest in that. He is a gamer. He likes games, but I guess he said, "Well, Dad, when I saw what you went through with EA, I don't want to be, in game development." So, Drew, exactly. If disruption works well, in the way certainly that Ben hopes it will, um, then it makes it less important, not unimportant, less important, to have as much crowd control or typical crowd control, standard crowd control. Tesseract, great question about net neutrality. So, look, here's the thing, and I said this in the last stream. Net neutrality is a good thing, the concept, right? We all want that. I mean, anyone who doesn't want that, obviously isn't a gamer. Because as a gamer, you want that. You don't want, your packets to be have a secondary delay added to them because you're coming in via an unfriendly, line passing through, somebody else's lines. On the other hand, at least what they've said publicly is that AT&T and T and other folks won't be doing that anyway. They're not going to be slowing down packets. They're not going to be interfering with the streams. So, do you believe them? I don't know. Before the act was passed, there weren't major issues. We'll just have to see how it shakes out. My our lawyer Jim Dunstan, and I have talked about this a lot. He's a big believer, as one might imagine, since we call him the space lawyer, that he has been at the forefront of these discussions. He's always it's an area he cares a lot about, and it's his opinion and other people that work with him that having the kind of protections we need, we have them already, and we didn't need the act, and that the act gave a lot of power to government to regulate that wasn't needed. And so, look, this is something that, and I know I said this in the last, stream. We as gamers have to be willing to use our voices in this case. We're no longer a bunch of loser nerds, as people way back in the day, would refer to me or anyone else who was interested in gaming at all, let alone gaming on these newfangled computers. We carry a lot of weight. We have a lot of clout if we can use it and decide to use it. And when you see the outcry um, over EA's use of loot boxes with Star Wars, if we could mobilize as gamers and really work together to get something done, yeah, I wouldn't worry about net neutrality. But the question is, can we? Again, we carry a lot. We have the potential to have a lot of clout. We just have to be willing to use it. It is that simple. So much of this world now revolves, entertainment revolves around geek culture. And so, you know, we just have to organize and do something about it. Not necessarily easy. Hiya, Dagda. Dagda, thank you so much. I did have a great Christmas, hung out with family, and then went to see a movie later in the day. Zermis, yeah, we would be screwed, but it's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen. Jim doesn't think it's gonna happen. Um, so these providers would be, cutting their own throats, and I don't think they would do that. Look, it's not because they're good and true. It's not, a question of that. It's financials. Um, in areas where you have more than one option, you'll go to somewhere else. And then if everyone does it, then I think there'll be enough of an outcry that they'll have to change. Black Bower. Oh, it's usage based. We've talked about that right from the beginning. So, question was, character progression, and it's usage based. Tesseract. Oh, I know. It's not just CU. It's all games. And frankly, there are other games that'll be hurt a lot worse than we will. We did some tests, God, more than a year ago, that we told you guys about with, introducing lag and all sorts of things to test how robust our code was. And it was pretty robust. So, I think we could handle it better than a lot of games, but I care about the whole industry, not just CU. Ready Player One. Yeah, I never read it. I should have. I was told I should read it. I know that Spielberg's coming out with a movie about it. Um, I hope it's good. I hope it's great. Tommy Tron. Currency. You mean like in CU? Um, yeah, obviously we're gonna have currency, just not real cash. Pack. Haven't discussed it yet. Whether it will be just gold or many others. We'll see. Oh, Black Bower, we're already we're building the game to be based along the premise of that a new player can come in and be effective day one. Um, Everything is about the horizontal progression, and that, as you know, is a huge difference from most games, which are most MMOs, which are vertical progression systems. So yes, you'll be able to come in, be effective day one, assuming you've played a PvP game before. The C-state cryptocurrency. Oh, Moss. Oh, I have been asked so many times about that already. We're not doing anything with crypto at the present time, but I've been asked at least a half a dozen people to either join their boards or to, you know, be involved with crypto. Not yet, certainly. And by yet, not yet, I don't mean I'm working on something, and yet, no, I'm not working on anything. Paladin, do I expect the first day of CU to be wandering around confused masses? I'm sure there'll be a bunch of confused masses, but so many of you will have played the game already, so I don't think you're going to be all that confused. No, Black Bow, it's a good question. Still, why would you bother to grind up your skills if there's no difference? I didn't say there was no difference. There's a huge difference between being effective, being able to last a few rounds, being able to help in as part of a group, and being equal, right? And as it doesn't matter. I shouldn't say no matter which game you play, but almost all PvP games follow a vertical progression system where you come in as a newbie and the veteran can just look at you and kill you by his breath. Um, that's not a good way to introduce new people to your PvP game, which is why so many of the games, including Daok, had PvE leveling. So you can level up your character, and then you go out and hunt and kill people when you're closer to their level. So yes, there's a lot of incentive for you to, level up your skills, but it's not. It's more a question of it's not that one skill will make you so much more powerful than this person, but you'll have a set of skills and other rewards to keep you interested in the game. So if that's what you like, then this is the game for you. If on the other hand, you like games where you can grind yourself up, to max level or close to max level, and then be easily able to kill anyone who's not at your level, this is not that kind of game. Um, on the other hand, if you want a game where you can always bring in new people and they still have a chance, that this is the game you're working for. Doctor, yeah, well, that's the whole idea. Uh, Absolutely. You know, that's that's important to us. Could there be a newbie Zerg or just a newbie group that wants to go out and can actually kill some older players? Yeah, absolutely. And that's how you need it to be if you want to ensure that a year or 2 years after launch, new people will want to come into the game. Because if you're not using this kind of a system, and you don't have a way of leveling your characters up other than PvP, and you're constantly having your butt handed to you every time you go out, even though you're a very good PvPer. It's just that your powers are so much weaker than everyone else. That's why a lot of these games can't sustain that player base, and we're hoping to sustain it. Penguin. Nice. Soft cap pack, soft cap, on stats and your abilities. Especially in this case, because I didn't want to go with a hard cap thing, and then when we expand, going, hey, we just lifted the hard cap, so we could sell more expansions. How did this get a middle-aged guy? So I'm a middle-aged guy, and that's being very kind. Oh, well, I Black Boa, thanks, but I do try to answer questions every Friday. Uh, you know, this this is just extra. Big Alex, will leveling be as hard as it was in Dayak? No. Again, the horizontal system and stuff, and everything you're doing in RVR levels your character. So between leveling up your skills and getting new skills, you're doing it all through RVR. So hopefully that takes the sting out of it. Sure, Paladin. The lifetime of the question was, do I worry about, um, what will happen in CU over time? And yeah, that's something I'm always concerned about. Is it something I'm going to lose a lot of sleep over? No. Penguin, with horizontal progression, do you have a way to plan out your progression? Yes, absolutely. Kind of important too. And what's your opinion about Dayak going free to play in 2018? No opinion. Do I affect that? Do I think that will affect CU? No, not really. Different games. At the end of the day, Dayak is a great, was the best, certainly, RVR game ever made. Um, but it's an older game, older engine. And like any other older game, it has its own issues. So, no, do I worry about it? Not at all. Not at all. Doctor, where in your priority scheme? God, okay. I probably need to take a break soon. Scheme is crafting. Oh, it's hugely important. That's why we've been working on it for beta one. Strike. Will I come in and play with you guys? What? Yeah, when we open the servers. Uh, Servers are open now? Shouldn't be open now. I would assume so. That he's trolling. Strike. How was my Christmas? Oh, it was fine. It was fine. It was quiet. Uh, got to relax. Um, just chilled. Played a little bit of vanilla WoW just for fun. Um, and then hung out with my son and uh, then went out to the movies and saw Shape of Water. Yeah, good things about Ark here. The guys who played it, Paladin, had lots of fun with it. Oh, good question, Kick Assassins. Is there a company that I look to with respect as a quality company that designs good games and has good values? Um, well, it's all of it is, having everything rolled into one is hard. I mean, Blizzard has done a lot of things well over the years, but they've made mistakes. But I respect, their commitment to quality. ZeniMax, they proved with Elder Scrolls that they were in it for the long haul, and with Matt Firer heading up ZeniMax Online, they delivered quite a good game and kept working on it. So credit to them for not giving up on the game, not only prior to launch but even afterwards. So I have to give credit to Robert Altman and the team over there for supporting Matt. They didn't have to do that. Lord knows there are plenty of other companies that didn't in a similar situation. Um, who else? Hmm. There's a bunch that, I just, I kind of have respect for. Kick Assassins. Matt Firer is a friend of mine. Is Matt Firer a friend of mine? Matt was one of the original folks over at Mythic, and he certainly was the producer and also did design work and other stuff. For us from day one, almost day one, until he left after the EA buyout. I have a lot of respect for his work. He certainly, had to overcome a whole bunch of things to get the game out, um, and they did. And again, they kept working on it. And so, I have to give, and should give credit both to Matt and as well to, Altman and, the team over at ZeniMax. And I have a ton of respect for, Todd Howard over at the Bethesda part of ZeniMax. Todd is amazing. I mean, you look at his games, over the years, and he's fantastic, and his games are fantastic. So lots of respect, for him and for those games. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to take a little break. We can keep the stream open. I'll just be skipping questions for a couple minutes. I need to look at a document. And I kind of need my focus to do that. So excuse me for a couple minutes as I dive into some other documents. I may have to take a call, so okay, I just sent the message back, so I'll catch up on some questions. Tyrex, will you have a nostalgic feeling for Dayak? I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. That's up to you folks to determine whether it's nostalgic or not. Um, we're certainly not trying to be, just a spiritual successor to Dark Age. We said this right from the Kickstarter, onwards. Do we, know the game that a lot of you played? Absolutely. Other people played Warhammer. Other people played other games. Were there great things in Dark Age? Yeah, amazingly great things. So, are some of the things going to make you nostalgic? We certainly hope so. But we also, want you to think about other games as well as some of the things we're doing differently. So that's up to you folks to determine. In terms of PB area effects, yeah, we've said that point blank area effects spells are confirmed. Aksu, how much temptation was there to make Dayak 2? Actually, none, because I know legally I can't. Um, if we had tried to simply recreate Dayak with a different name, I would expect to be sued by EA. And they would have every right to do that. If all we were doing was cloning Dark Age and changing the name, even changing a few things around. You know, they could do that. And the other thing is, look, rightly or wrongly, we signed a deal with EA to sell the company, and it would be disingenuous of me to have done that deal and then leave, and then essentially take their IP in that sense. We are just wholeheartedly ripping it off. EA for whatever else I could say about them, they honored my agreement at the end, and so I would have no ethical reason to go after them. If I had an ethical reason, well, that's a whole different story. But they honored the deal, so what can I do? Paladin, can they sue for being too similar to Dark Age? No, they can't. Not a chance. This game is so different in so many important ways that they couldn't. I mean, whether you look at the races, you look at the classes, you look at the combat system. Um, you know, is it an RVR game? Well, yeah, it is, but you can't sue about that. Grimslag. Oh, good question. Do I have a wish list of original ideas? Uh, that never been tried before. I do actually have that list on my computer. I actually do. Uh, Tyrex, you're welcome. Aksu, you're a good dude despite what the trolls say. Hey, look, I've had people love me, hate me, meh about me for 30 years. So, oh, another call, letter coming in. Ah, now I see what this guy's talking about. Be right back. Oh, actually, I'll answer the question. Um, bye, the man. See you again soon. Um, and so, yeah, I have been hated, by people. I've had death threats from people. I've had other people say that I'm terrific. Look, at the end of the day, I am who I am. I stick by my team always. Nobody can ever, deny that. I honor my agreements. EA never had, nor any of my other partners had, ever any issue with that. Do I speak my mind? Absolutely. Uh, Especially at EA meetings, because I thought that was frankly my job. I mean, why would you bring in people, hire people if you don't want them to be honest, right? Not everyone liked my honesty. Don't really care. So I assume the same thing will happen, and will happen here as well. Some of you, maybe even some of you in the stream, 2 years from now, they may not be happy with me or happy with the game. Um, but the one thing you can count on is that I stuck to what I promised. And as days like this and other days, you folks have caught me on stream, have shown it's not from a lack of effort. So, I believe that we as city state are doing things the right way. Um, we are being honest. We're being more communicative than any other Kickstarter game. I mean, where else can you just get on a stream with the president of the company? It's like, yeah, not too many, and unscheduled and unscripted, right? I've got nobody looking at your questions. I try to answer every one, um, and we talk. So, if there's anyone else who's doing it at this level, good, great for them, yay, because I think that's what should happen. But almost nobody is. So, some people won't like that eventually. Some don't already like it, but it is what it is. Okay, got to take a quick break. I'll be right back. Just need to read something. Is this? Okay, back for a second. Leon, you're welcome. Strike. Back then, you upgraded beta access level because of the delay for the new animation system. I heard the store is already updated to reflect this, but does this apply to Founders? No, it doesn't apply to Founders. More coming end of January. Aksu. Yeah, I agree with you. Anyway, back to what you said, Aksu. Um, as far as people, saying that there's no progress and it's vaporware. Look, obviously, there's more than a little bit of progress. People have seen it. Um, Not only our testers, but other people have seen it. So there's lots of progress there. Are we vaporware? No, but we're also not a real game yet. We're a game in development. And I think I've said stuff like this on Massively, that until we actually prove we have a real game, then, I can understand why people say that, um, you know, we are vaporware. I get that. Oh, now I see what he was trying to. Got it. All right, now this makes sense. Now this makes sense. All the fun stuff about being the president of the company who also does, books and legal and other things. Okay. So where did this exactly come from? Came from there. All right, I'll be right back, guys. Strike. What do I think about third-party tools apps? Same thing that I always have. I think some of them are great. Some of them will be a pain in the neck, and we'll have to potentially disable stuff. But we'll see. Well, actually, Phil says I agree with Aksu that watching the sausage get made isn't always fun for everybody. Um, some people don't want to know how the sausage gets made; they just want to see the game come out. And and two cats. I don't think we need to go that far and say it's not that people lack that these people lack creativity or drive. I don't think we need to say that. I just think some people, want to just see the fit, see the final game, and I have to respect that, and we should all, frankly, respect that because we're different. We're different people. Now, what they should also respect, with people on that side of the fence, is that that maybe backing a Kickstarter game is not for them, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. you know Again, people are different, and if some people want to back a kickstarted game, really want to see how the sausage gets made, and can put up with all the things that you have to put up with as a Kickstarter backer, especially of our game. I'm good with that. Let them do that, and let the ones who don't want to do that don't do it as well. It's their choice. Following a game like ours isn't easy. We do give out a lot of information and updates, and for a lot of people, that's more than they want. They just want to know when the game is ready, and that's good. And again, I respect that, but also they have to respect us, and by us I mean backers and CU. When it isn't ready yet, or we do send out a lot of updates, and by respect, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't say anything, but they should stay away from vaporware and all that, because vaporware is not what we have. Not us, and not even Star Citizen. And look, Star Citizen gets a lot of criticism, and I know why. Oh, to catch showing, I know. It's just in general. Um, but they have been showing things. Now, is it showing enough? No, that's up to the backers to decide. In our case, we certainly have tried to show a lot to people, and we want to continue to show a lot to people. And we'll do the same thing again, I hope. Down the road, we may do things a little bit differently. We should always be learning lessons from whatever we do in life, whether it's a Kickstarted game, whether it's getting money from a publisher to do a game, or a rich uncle to get to do a game. We should always be learning. So, look, we've learned some things, and I hope we apply the lessons correctly. In terms of a CU board game, actually, we are making one. It's the Depths. We've been testing that, and we're going to continue to test it. We go to local game shop and test it. We're going to be doing that more often. Um, cool board game. So we'll certainly do a Kickstarter for that at some point. Grim swag. Well, that's an interesting way to put it. Uh, that's certainly a little bit harsher, but I do agree with that. Pack, undecided yet. We're not even that far down the road. Hey, Merry Christmas, Christo. Christo. My main concerns regarding MMOs have always been cheating and exploiting. How confident they will prevent people from zerging and objective trading. Pretty confident. Not because we're not treating it seriously, but just pretty confident because we care about it a lot and it infuses a whole bunch of the design. So I'm not terribly worried about it. Two Cats Mythic started out with muds. No, actually, we didn't start out with muds. I had done a mud, well, two muds to be technical, and Denton had done a mud, and we put our teeny tiny companies, like teeny tiny companies together, and we formed Mythic. But we actually didn't make a mud as our first game. First game was Splatterball. Oh, something I gotta take. Hang on. Okay, give me a sec. All right, I may have to get off in a couple minutes. Just got some things that need to get done, and I may need full focus for that. Okay, strike. It was Dragon Armies of Camelot. Question was, what was the original name that I wanted for Camelot Unchained? You can imagine why I didn't end up. One of the reasons I didn't end up going down that path. But man, it was tempting. It was tempting. Whatever I want, MASH, would I ever want to make a sci-fi MMO? Yep, sure would. Love sci-fi. Got sci-fi graphic novel that's in pre-production right now. Two cats. Yeah, the problem would have been, yeah, which Dayak are we talking about? All right, guys, I need to. Think I need to get off. Yeah, I do need to get off. Need to have a couple conversations. So, look, thank you all so much for coming by. Thank you for keeping me company on this stream. But something has come up that I need to get on the phone for. So, I will see you folks another day before the end of the year, I believe. We'll see. But great questions. This was a great stream from my perspective. And, if by some chance I don't see you for the new year before the new year, have a happy, happy new year, especially a safe new year in this crazy world we live in. And hope you also all had a Merry Christmas, whether you celebrate it or not. As I said on the forums, I am a big believer always in any, whether it's holiday or reason, to wish other people goodwill and fortune. So enjoy the rest of your year, and hopefully I'll catch you folks before the end of the year. Okay, bye guys. Wrist brace and all. Yay! Bye.